Hey guys, this is Maylani Hawk with Why Not Me Academy, where our goal is to help others stop talking about their dreams and actually start doing them. Now, for me personally, my background's in real estate investing, and that was the way that I was able to actually start accomplishing and recognizing my dreams. And so, although this is not just another real estate investing podcast, every once in a while we do have a real estate specialist on because I love these people that I get to call friends in speaking in the real estate industry, and they have such great topics that I just have to share them with you guys. Now, this is not just another how to wholesale a house, how to flip a house. These are topics that are different. Today goes deeper into lease options. Now, a lease option is simply an agreement that gives the renter a choice to purchase at the end of their rental period. Okay, so pretty basic, but it can be used so powerfully. It can be used if you're going to flip houses. It can be used if you're going to do Airbnbs. It can be used for all sorts of different ways, okay? And John's going to talk about that a little bit with us. Now, if you're listening to the podcast version, you might want to check out the YouTube version also, because on the YouTube, John does use a PowerPoint for this one that has a few helpful graphs and such that you might want to look. Now, just a little quick thing about John also. Since he started in 2003, he's done almost 700 transactions, probably more by now, himself. And that doesn't even count the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds he's helped his students do as well. Now, he's been featured on Fox and NBC, and he basically teaches people how to invest and how to make money utilizing lease options, using no credit, no money, and with almost no competition because there aren't many people doing this. And all this while using pretty houses. Whereas when I was flipping houses, I worked with a lot of junk houses. So, anyways, he talks about that as well. So, I hope you enjoy this really amazing concept that seems so basic, but once you get how to use it in a deeper sense, it will be a game changer as a stream of income. So enjoy this episode with John Jackson, the king of lease options. Hey guys, welcome to Why Not Me Academy. This is Maylani Hawk, and today I have John Jackson with us. Thanks so much, John, for being here.
Hey, Maylani, we're going to get through this, girl. We're going to do this, I know.
We've had some technical difficulties thanks to everyone and their dog being homeschooled and learning and using all sorts of technology right now. But I'm so excited to have John be here with us because not only I wanted to have him do this not only for my Airbnb students, but also for anyone who is looking to get into real estate. He is what do you call yourself? It's the king of lease options, right? And lease options are—
That is right, yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I've been called the king of lease options, and it stuck. So there you go, girl.
Okay, the king of lease options, and I'm taking it. I'm running with it. And if you don't know what lease options are, or if you think you know, stick around. This is going to have a bunch of great information for you. So, John, I'm going to turn it over to you to just train us, enlighten us all about lease options, and hopefully, whether you're using it for Airbnbs or any real estate, like you've got to pay attention. So, John, take it away.
All right, Maylani. Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks a lot. And yeah, we had some technical issues, but apparently everybody's using the internet and Zoom and everything right now. But we'll get through this. And just, Maylani,
I might even turn off my video so it doesn't, maybe that will help with the lag. But okay.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Maylani, if anything happens, just shoot me a text and just so I know what's going on your end. But unless I see a text, I'm going to roll. I'm going to hit this stuff. I'm going to hit it hard. All right. All right, here we go, guys. Hey, listen, guys. Again, my name is John Jackson. I'm the founder of Leasing to Buy. Leasing to Buy is actually the largest lease option company here in Texas, but we have affiliates and dream partners in other cities, other areas. So, again, my name is John Jackson. I'm here in the Fort Worth, Texas area. So, shout out to all and any Texan listening or watching, I should say, as well right now. But on this show, what I'm going to cover in this topic here is I'm going to talk about, first of all, just a quick intro on me, on myself. So in case you're not familiar with who I am, you'll get to know a little bit about myself, how I got started as well. I think that's really important for this particular podcast of Why Not Me. You get to hear my story. I remember myself working for a 9-to-5 company, thinking, seeing people that work for themselves, playing golf anytime they wanted. I thought, why not me? So this will be a great segue into the next thing, which is going to be, I'm going to talk about the market, where it is now, what's going on, the craziness, and how you can actually benefit from all of this. And then I'm going to talk about lease options, and particular lease option assignments, which is what I specialize in. And then I'm going to talk about how to do this virtually. All right, so I'm going to be covering a lot of material here. And so I'm going I'll be going very, very quickly, all right, covering a lot of stuff. So I recommend taking lots of notes here, because once I get started, my goal is to get this hammered down you very, very quickly. So here we go. So again, my name is John Jackson. I'm the founder of Leasing to Buy, lease option classes, as well as cashofferfast.com. I primarily do lease options. That's about 99% of the real estate that we do. We do some wholesaling as well with Cash Offer Fast, but I'll be honest with you guys, lease options are that's my bread and butter, because I get to work with pretty houses in pretty areas that I don't even have to go see the house. I don't have to meet the homeowner. I don't have to meet the buyer. It's just a great, great way to make money in real estate. And I have nothing at risk. Nothing at risk. I don't have to make any payments, any repairs, or anything. So let's dive in here real quickly. Just a little bit about myself. Who is this guy talking to us right now? Who is John Jackson? Well, again, as Melanie said, my name is John Jackson. I've been called the King of Lease Options. That nickname hit me I was called that about 2005, 2006, and it's stuck ever since. So I'm the official King of Lease Options, I guess. Again, I've done well over 650, it's probably closer to 700 lease option transactions. I started leasing to buy in 2003. I've since done about over 650 lease option transactions. I am the expert on Texas lease options. Texas has specific laws and rules, and I'm the only educator that teaches lease options for Texas. So if you're in Texas, I'm the go-to guy. I've also educated and taught some of the top educators in the United States, some of the top educators that you maybe you've bought some of their materials, some of their courses. If they are teaching lease options, it's very likely that I'm the one that taught them lease options or helped them develop some of the lease option strategies based around leasing to buy in our business model. Some of those educators still to this day send me their students, particularly for Texas. So that's just a little bit of background about me. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I got started, and I'll keep this pretty tight because we have a lot of stuff to cover. But I'm going to cover this because of the show, Why Not Me? And believe me, in 2002, 2003, I wasn't doing real estate. I had to start from somewhere, right? Get this, I worked for Radio Shack, all right? I worked for Tandy Corporation. And no, I did not sell batteries or remote control cars. I actually fixed camcorders. Yeah, boring. But that's what I did. I did it for years and years and years, and I hated it. Well, then fast forward a little bit, and my wife said that she was pregnant. So being responsible, I did what any responsible soon-to-be father would do, and I quit my job. Yes, I quit my job at Radio Shack. I said, I'm going to stay at home with this beautiful girl that you're about to have. So what I did is I quit my job, and I became a stay-at-home day trader trading stocks and trading options as well. So I did that for a couple of years, and that's very important to make note of, that I was a day trader for 2 years. That means I spent 2 years studying and analyzing markets and trends and data and technical analysis. That's what I did. Well, then comes real estate. I want to make money in real estate. Well, the thing with real estate is there's so many ways to make money in real estate. Flipping, rehab, rentals, Airbnb wasn't even around at the time, but land, so many ways to make money in real estate. Well, I kept running across a term called options or lease options. Well, I already understood options because I traded options in the stock market, right? So I thought, well, this seems like a good path to go, and it requires no money and no risk. So I jumped into lease options. I went to a site, and it's actually naked-investor.com, and found a manual. That manual taught me the absolute basics. It was the absolute basics of lease options, okay? So I started trying to do lease options. Now, I knew nothing about lease options other than what I read in this little manual, which was basics. And I knew I had to start marketing to sellers. I would do the cold calling, which that's the whole story. I would do cold calling from Radio Shack. It was pretty funny. Anyway, but I had to get creative. And guys, if there's anything that you've got to, I want you to take away from this is that all markets are cyclical, and that with real estate, you've got to get creative. With business, you've got to get creative. Creativity is one of your most powerful assets you have on your side, especially in a market like this, especially with what's going on. So I had to get creative with lease options. And I began actually marketing to listed houses. That's how I exploded leasing to buy, is marketing to listed houses. Now, the first two houses I did, though, I did by what's called driving for dollars. Now, I didn't know there was a term, driving for dollars. I was just doing it. And so the house on the right there, that's the very first house I ever leased option. It was about a mile or so from my house. And I drove down a street I'd never driven down before, and there's a sign in the yard that said for sale by owner. So I called the owner. Hey, would you be willing to do a lease option? He said, sure. So within 3 weeks on that house, I made $3,500. Which in 2003 was a tremendous amount of money, right? Now, I don't do anything now for less than $8,500, really. I just don't. But the point is that on that house, within just a few weeks, I made $3,500. More money I'd seen in such a short amount of time ever. Then the next house up on the left there, the two-story house, that's the second house I lease optioned. That was actually from a HomeVestor franchise. And they had a sign in the yard for sale. Called them up. Hey, would you be interested in doing a lease purchase? They said, sure. Okay, great. Lease purchased it, then they started sending me more and more and more houses. So we did a lot of work for HomeVestors of America. That's a great way to get houses as well. But the point is, I went from working from Radio Shack to becoming a day trader, knowing nothing about real estate. I mean, nothing about real estate. Bought a manual for $97 that taught the absolute bare basics about lease options. I just went out and did it. I said, okay, I guess I'll start marketing. I have no idea how, but I'm going to come up with some way. I'll get creative. And here we go. Started dying for dollars and driving for dollars, everything. So I will say this, before we get into where the market is now, the number one thing I would do differently, and it doesn't matter if you're looking at Airbnb, lease options, wholesaling, anything, the number one absolute thing I would do different is I would find a mentor. All right, find somebody who has walked the path that you want to walk down. All right, find someone that has walked the path you want to walk down. So, for example, I'm not the mentor to go to for Airbnb. All right, Melanie would be that. I'm the lease option guy. I'm not the rehab guy. So I wouldn't be the right mentor. But no matter what your niche is that you want to go down, find a mentor that has walked that path. You will get to where you want to be so much incredibly faster and for a lot less money and headache. All right, so let me talk about my serious moment here. This is John's serious moment because Melanie may have said that earlier. I'm kind of a character. I'm known as a real estate educator and speaker that tends to bounce around on stage and make people laugh and make fun of people. It's just a lot of fun. But I'm going to take a serious moment here, talk about where we are right now in the market, what is going on, what's going to happen. Everybody is going into fear and uncertainty. And I'll admit there's a little bit of fear of uncertainty for me, not because of the market, but just because of the whole virus thing that is going on. Like, what is happening with this? And we still don't know what's going to become of it. But the point is this. I've been telling people for a year and a half, hey guys, the market's pulling back. And so many people say, oh, John, you don't understand where I am at. Houses sell in 2 weeks, houses sell in a day, whatever. Like, okay, well, that may be a freak hotspot, but the market's pulling back. You see, I spent 2 years studying the markets and technical analysis, and I knew, okay, the market's been pulling back. I'm seeing the data. So that was so in 2007, 2008, 2009, I went through that. And while other investors were having to file bankruptcy and losing house foreclosure, losing all this money, leasing to buy, doing lease options was thriving. It was thriving. I did so much business since 07, 08, 09. There were months, 3 or 4 months, where I did no marketing to sellers because I couldn't handle all the inventory. It was insane. Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to show you a chart here in just a second. We're back where we were in 07, 08, 09. All right, I'm going to show you that in a chart here in just a second. Now, I don't know where the market's going to end up. I don't have a crystal ball on exactly how this is going to affect real estate, but I can tell you this, days on market is going to go up. because fear causes uncertainty. Uncertainty causes sellers to get desperate and say, take it, just help me out of this situation. And what are they looking for? They're looking for plan B. Now that plan B, for me, is lease options, because it's far better than rental, right? Because they're not landlords. With the lease option, that's, for me, that's their plan B. The fear causes uncertainty. And all markets, guys, all markets are driven by two things. People say supply and demand. Well, that's a offshoot of it. But what really drives all markets, I don't care if it's futures markets, futures, stocks, options, real estate, are driven by two things. And that's fear and greed. So again, all markets are cyclical. All markets are cyclical. You've got to know what market you're in at any given time. And any fool looks wise in a rising market, right? Look back at 03, 04, 05. People buy a house in Florida, and 90 days later, 6 months later, the thing was worth another $30,000. And they thought, oh, look at me, I'm a genius. No, you're not. You just happen to be on a wave, right? So, and again, all markets are driven by two things, which is fear and greed. So think about the market we're in right now. What do you think is driving the market right now? Do you think it's fear or greed? Well, it's fear, obviously. Everybody's running for the door. They're afraid. They're very scared. That's going to affect real estate. Again, 60 days on market, 90 days on market, 120. Those numbers are going to go up. More and more houses are going to be on 60 days on market. You've got to be ready and primed to pull the trigger on your marketing, which is what we're going to be doing. So again, I'm going to show you this chart here. Now, if you look at this chart on the right-hand side, you'll see where the two red arrows are pointing towards each other. I'm going to use my cursor here, I think. You can see those two cursors, red cursors, okay? That's 2003. That's when my business started, leasing to buy, okay? Started in 2003. So you can see the market taking off dramatically, okay? And while I was taking off, I had no clue what I was doing, but yet I was still making more money and faster than I had ever experienced before doing lease options. Now, if you look and see, 2006 is the top. 2007, boom, 8, bam, the crash. This is where all these investors and homeowners were losing money, going bankrupt, filing foreclosure, okay? But then we see, okay, we start picking up again. Now, what we've seen from about I'd say 12, 13, 2017, starts, boom, it's another boom. It's another, all markets are cyclical. Well, look at this last arrow over here, okay? That's the end of 2017. The market already started pulling back some, okay, just a little bit. But what has happened over the last year and a half is it started pulling back even more in different areas. And it's starting to pull back. So what's happened is in 07, 08, you had a number of different factors come to play that came together finally for the crash, including overpricing, all right, greed, overpricing, exuberance, irrational exuberance, as the Yale economist says. And then you had the underlying, the mortgages, where anybody that could fog a mirror could get a mortgage, all right? The high-risk mortgages all came together, boom, crashed, it fell apart. With this market, you just had the bubble coming in where it's pulling back, all right? You don't have the mortgage situation so much as you did in 07, 08. However, now that you've got that catalyst to make it drop, that catalyst is the virus that's going on, okay? All that uncertainty. That catalyst is going to cause the unemployment rate is going to go probably higher than we've ever seen it in my lifetime. Businesses are going to close. Things are going to collapse, okay, because of this. So that was the catalyst. So it's very positive. According to this chart, and this is back in the end of 2017. Now, Robert Schiller didn't know about a virus that was going to happen, but the point is, even without it, he predicted it was going to be worse than the 07, 08, 09 crash. Now with this virus, he may very well be right. I wouldn't have said that before, but now with this virus, I would say he may be right, that the market's going to pull back even further. Certainly as a percentage, I could see that for sure. But so the other question is, okay, well, great, John, the market's pulling back. What am I going to do? I'm in real estate, or I want to make money in real estate. Market's pulling back. What am I going to do? Well, here's the thing, guys. I have people that I train all over the United States. And inevitably people will say, well, John, you don't understand. It's such a hot market right now. How can I make money in real estate? But yet then when the market is down, they say, yeah, but John, you don't understand. The market's down. How can I make money? It's like, it doesn't matter to some people if it's up or down. They think you just can't make money. Well, it's up, I can't make money. It's down, I can't make money. That's not true. It's not true. But the way to make money, especially in a down market, is to be that solution. And people are going to be hurting. And I always say, be the doctor. Be the doctor. And right now, people are going to need a lot of people are going to need a doctor, not just because of a virus, but because of their real estate. They're moving, relocating, lost their job, whatever the case may be. They're investors. People aren't buying like they were. They need a plan B, and that's where lease options come in. So again, the reason this is so important, guys, because if you have cash on the street, you need to know when to get out. And you also need to know about the marketing. So with us, I read trends very, very well. This is what I've done for 2 years in the stock market, now 17 years in real estate. Market trends tell us when to explode the marketing, all right? And we're about to explode the marketing heavier than we've done in a long time, because now the fish are about to bite. I'm throwing every pole in the water that we have, all right? So again, this is the prime time to be involved in lease options, especially what I'm going to teach you here on this presentation. Now, real quickly here, I want to talk about the 3 cornerstones of your success, and then we're going to get into lease options. But this is important. These 3 cornerstones, I want to make note of, because it doesn't matter if you're doing Airbnb, lease options, rehab, anything in real estate, anything in business. It comes down to mindset. Your mindset's the most critical thing. Systems. You've got to have the right systems, and structure. What is your structure? So said another way, excuse me, mindset is coaching, mentorship. Systems, you've got to have the marketing in place. You've got to have those systems in place for that marketing, for tracking the marketing and knowing your numbers. And structure, you've got to have your branding in place. All right, like I've got leasing to buy. That's my branding. I've got my marketing in place. And in my case, mindset, coaching. I actually pay for a coach. I've done this for 17 years. I don't think I'm a genius and can have it all figured out. I've got to get inside my own head and let somebody else get in there and say, hey, John, here's what you're not doing right. Here's some ways you can redo some things, all right? So I have a mentor that I pay a lot of money for, very well worth it. So mindset, system, structure. And lastly, before we get into the lease options, I want to talk about, the 6 words that kill. This goes into mindset, guys. And you're going to find this so much, especially right now with the market being crazy. People are going to use these words all the time. If only, yeah, but, what if? Guys, write those words down, because those words are going to be the words that prevent you from being successful, whether it be in real estate or so many things in life. Yeah, but John, you don't get it. It's a hot market. What if the seller says no? What if the seller says yes? Oh, if only I knew how to get this Podio thing going. Or if only I had a VA. All these things, all these roadblocks are created by these 6 words. Okay, I want you to remove these words from your vocabulary. As soon as your subconscious says them, boom, kill it. Because some of y'all on this call right now, you may have just started your journey. Maybe you're at mile marker 0. You just started your journey. You don't know which way to go. You're scared because there's so many opportunities, but you don't know what to do. You don't want to make a mistake. Oh my gosh. Some of y'all on this call have done a deal or 2 or many deals. Maybe you're on mile marker 1. You've done a couple of deals, but you really can't get the traction. You're not getting the traction you want, all right? Because they're facing hurdles. Some of the hurdles you may face may be, oh, John, I don't need money to invest. I don't know how to go raise private capital. Or most of my credit's not that good. Guys, with lease options, you don't need money. You don't need credit. And knowledge and experience, where you're getting knowledge right here, right? And too much competition. Everybody says, John, there's so much competition. No, not with lease options. With lease options, there's no competition. There's almost zero, there's zero competition, especially the way that I teach it, okay? Again, there's so many ways to make money in real estate: rentals, wholesaling, fix and flip, wraps, sub-to, notes, foreclosures, so many ways. But the bottom line is, I found this, guys, with a rental, I need more than $100 a month to make it worth my while. So I don't have a rental portfolio. That's just me, because I've got friends that have rentals that they may make $100 or $150 a month on a rental, as an example. I'm like, that's not a lot of money. So I needed something much more powerful. And the fastest and safest way to the fastest and safest way to make money in real estate for me is lease options. So there's 3 types of lease options. You may want to write these down. There's a straight lease option, a sandwich lease option, and a lease option assignment. Now, a straight lease option, I'm not going to go into detail on all of these just because it would take too long, but there are three types. There's a straight lease option, and that would be like if you're going to use Airbnb, if you want to control a property using a lease option, that would be a straight lease option. And when I get done here, Melanie may have a couple of questions about that, and I can walk through that. There's a straight lease option. That's between you and a homeowner, okay? Or if you own a house, instead of renting it, you can do a straight lease option. It's you and there's two parties involved. Sandwich lease option involves three parties: the buyer, the seller, and you, the investor. And you, as the investor, stay in the middle of the transaction. You're subletting the property to the buyer. You've got an agreement with the seller to lease option it at one price, at one monthly payment. But then you turn around and you sublet it to the end buyer at a higher price and a higher monthly payment. All right. And that's kind of like what you're doing with an Airbnb in the sense that you're subletting it. That's the same thing here. You're subletting that house, but the end buyer has the option to purchase it and you'll profit from that. But the last one, the lease option assignment. Now, lease option assignment is exactly what I specialize in. So I specialize in lease option assignments. A lease option assignment is simply where I have to sign a contract with the owner for a certain price, certain monthly payment. I then assign that contract to the end buyer. They pay me an assignment fee. Boom, I'm done. Okay. So I'm going to focus on lease option assignments for this call. So again, there's only one profit center lease option assignment, but it's very, very fast profit center. It's exactly what I would recommend to people getting started in real estate. Because you have so many investors out there pulling their hair out, going crazy, trying to find deals, wasting money on inefficient marketing and competing with every other investor. Everybody's trying to use the same magic formula in real estate. That's the wholesale formula. 70% of ARV minus repairs, minus what you're going to make, boom, there's your offer. That offer ends up coming at like 50 cents in the dollar. Well, not every homeowner is going to be able to or willing to take 50 cents in the dollar, for their house. I have my own magical formula, my own magical lease option formula. It's very, very complicated. It's actually just a simple conversation. And here's how that conversation looks like. Hey, you want to sell your house? Sure. How much? This much. Okay, great. Sign here. That is the conversation that takes place between me and a seller, because we offer them we get them full price, no commission, short-term lease purchase. So what is a lease option assignment? And I say lease purchase, lease option interchangeably. Again, I'm offering the seller full price. Now, the seller knows I'm not going to be making any payments. I'm not agreeing to make any payments. I'm just saying, let me lock this up with a lease option contract with all the terms spelled out. And the owner knows I'm going to be assigning this contract and making money. It's all laid out. There's no negotiating. I simply make my assignment fee of about 4%. That's how I get paid. I get paid an assignment fee of about 4%. And then I simply rinse and repeat, do it over and over and over. So the lease option assignment, it looks like this. There's the seller. We sign a contract with the seller with all the terms in it. We then assign it to the end buyer. We assign to the end buyer who is not quite ready for finance, but has the money down and everything and can make the monthly payments. Once we assign that contract, we're out of the agreement. We're out of the deal. Now the contract between the seller and the buyer, we're out of the deal. So again, you've got the contract. You got the contract that includes the option price, the price, your fee is in there, the monthly payment, everything's in there. I find a buyer, intended buyer, I assign my contract, boom, I collect my fee. It's that easy. So again, I take my contract with all the terms in it. In my case, we put a sign in the yard, leasing to buy sign, boom, sign the yard, put it online, market it. The end buyer, the optionee comes along, hey, I love that house. How much is it? It's whatever, it's 10,000 down, 9,000 down, 1,700 a month, whatever the case may be. He loves it, boom, pays us. And I was using an example of $8,000. So to give you an example, $200,000 house, I've got a contract here. I'm going to put the contract together at 208. Right? Seller's trying to get 200. I put it together at 208. I'm going to put my assignment fee as $8,000. I then assign it to the end buyer. I get paid my $8,000. And the buyer has the right to buy it at $208,000. I made $8,000 on this deal. Okay? Because I get about 4% on my assignment fee. And then at that point, then the buyer makes the payments directly to the owner. And so you very quickly, very easily made $8,000 on a pretty house that you never had to see, never to meet the buyer, never had to meet the seller. You made $8,000. So here's the steps to lease option assignment. You complete the contract with the owner with all the terms in it. All right, you market the property, sign the yard, online ads, etc. Buyer comes along, sees the house online, completes the application. You assign your contract, and boom, they pay your fee. You just completed a lease option assignment. Now, there's a lot more, some little other things, details in there, but those are the steps to a lease option assignment. Now, people say, well, John, why would a seller use a lease option? Well, because maybe they're moving, relocating, bought another house on the market. Maybe their house has been on the market for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. They don't want to just rent their house. They don't want to be landlords. And they have low equity, maybe they're low equity. That's a huge thing for people that buy their house on a VA loan. So these are just some reasons why a seller would want to use a lease option. Now, there's a lot of benefits for the seller to use lease option. They get full asking price, no haggling, not negotiating. I don't pay for a bunch of inspection items. They don't pay you a commission. They save 6% there. Their payments are covered. They're going to cash flow almost every time. They're going to be cash flowing. And so they're getting somebody far better than a tenant. And their repairs are covered by the home warranty. The buyers actually get a home warranty in the house. It's very hands-off for the seller. So I've talked a little bit about where we are in the market right now, which is a great, great, great opportunity because the market is pulling back and you've got this catalyst, which is the virus, and which is creating fear and uncertainty. Great for real estate in the sense of if you're an investor, if you know how to position yourself. We talked about lease options and specifically lease option assignments where I'm locking up a contract on a house with a pretty house and assigning it to the end buyer. So let's talk briefly about virtual lease options, okay? Virtual lease options. How do I do this virtually where I never see the house? So I've done lease options virtually for years, since 2004 or so I started doing it virtually. What that means is I never saw the house. I never met the seller. I never met the buyer. I never talked to the buyer. Well, how does that happen? I'm going to show you here. Now, I was doing this before there was a term virtual, or virtual lease options. I was just doing it. And this is how I did it. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, John, how can you do this virtually? How do we inspect the house? Do we get pictures? How do we get pictures? Who puts a sign in the yard? Who shows the house? Who takes the calls? Blah, blah, blah. It's very, very easy. The first thing you want to do, guys, is you want to find your target area. So what you don't want to do, and I would say this is true in any avenue of real estate, is that whether it be lease options, wholesaling, anything, for the most part, is you don't want to be all over the map necessarily, especially starting off. So if you're in Memphis, Tennessee, you don't want to say, okay, I'm going to look for houses in Chicago, Detroit, here and there, all over the place, getting started. Because what happens is you're not focused. You're scattered like a shotgun blast. All right. I say find your target area, and boom, you become the expert in that area. You're going to do your marketing to the sellers. In our case, we have we actually have email and text blast. But my main marketing is direct mail. I've got very, very specific direct mail pieces that nobody uses, and I'm sending to people that nobody else is sending to. So you do the marketing to sellers. They call you, and here's how it works. The seller will call me. Hey, I just got your brochure in the mail. Tell me a little bit about how this works. They're looking for plan B, and bam, they got my direct mail piece. So I tell them very briefly about the program, and they'll say, well, okay, this looks great. I'll send them the numbers, contracts. Everything looks great. And they'll say, well, all right, so do you need to come see the house? I'll say, no, I'm good. I've seen a bathroom. I know what a bathroom looks like. I know what a kitchen looks like. I don't care. I mean, and the thing is, the pictures of the house, in almost every case, the pictures of the house are already online. Why? Because they're already trying to sell their house. So the pictures are already online. I don't have to go to the house. They're right here in front of me on my computer. So I don't need pictures. If I do need pictures, the seller can take them. Hey, I need a picture of the kitchen. You're not going to have a seller go, no, I'm not going to take pictures for you. Really, they want to help you. Or you can have your rep take them for you, and which I'll talk about reps here at the very end. And what is the rep and what do they do? So why do I not need to see the house? I don't need to inspect them or anything. These are nice $250,000 homes that are move-in ready. The thing's not falling apart. Okay, these are nice houses. So let's talk about reps. So we talked about I do my direct mailing. I find my target area. I do my direct mail or my marketing. Talk to the seller. I send the number, send the contracts. All right, looks good. At this point, I haven't seen the seller. I've never met the seller. I haven't seen the house other than online. I haven't gone to the house. So far, so good, right? Well, now what? The seller says, yeah, let's do it. Okay, boom. I say, great. My rep, Bob Wilson, will be contacting you. He'll be the one, he handles your area. He'll be in touch with you. Bob is my rep for that area. I now send the contract and the owner's information to Bob. Hey, Bob, I just got this house. Take it. Bob then calls the seller. Hey, my name is Bob Wilson, leasing to buy. Understand we're about to be bringing your house on board. I'll coordinate with you to get pictures if need be, get a sign in the yard, get paperwork, etc. Bob now goes to get pictures if needed. Bob now goes to get a sign in the yard. Now Bob puts it online to market it, right? To market this property. Bob's name and phone number are associated with this house. All the buyers, potential buyers, call Bob, not me. Bob answers the phone, does a pre-qual, etc. Shows the house to them. All right, once they're approved, Bob meets the buyer, the tenant buyer, to get there, to have him close the deal, to sign the paperwork, to get the cashier's checks. Bob then makes copies of the cashier's checks, goes to the bank, deposits the checks, emails me the documents. I've never even talked to the buyer. I pulled the application. I don't need to talk to the buyer. Let me see what's on the. Let me see what's on the paper. Sorry. Let me see what's on the application. So I haven't seen the house. Never met the seller. Never took a call from a buyer. Right? Yet Bob's depositing money, cashier's checks into my bank account. So reps. Who are these magical reps that would go out and do this? Well, you can find a number of ways. You can use a leasing agent. You can find a real estate leasing agent. They'll do it. In my case, because my system is such a finely tuned machine, literally yesterday, I had a seller call me, reach out to me, she'd been asking me before, do we need help? Do we need help? Because she knows that this program works. So almost every single one of my reps came to me either as a seller or a buyer that came through my program and said, oh my God, this is great. Do you need help? Like, this is genius, what you put together. Do you need help? So I found mine through sellers and buyers. They just reached out to me and said, we want to work for you. This is great. What do? Well, we talked about what they do. They coordinate with the seller, get pictures if needed, put a sign in the yard. They then take all the calls from the buyers. Okay, that's what they do. They'll do all the paperwork for the tenant buyer, get the cashier's checks, all of that. So imagine this. In real estate, you've got a broker, real estate agent. All the agents are like the worker bees for the broker. That's exactly kind of how I set it up. I was like, I'm not a broker, but I was set as if I was a broker and everybody beneath me were the agents. Now, something I will say here. People say, well, do you have to be an agent to do this? No, I'm not a real estate agent. I've done this for 17 years. I'm not a real estate agent. Do you have to be? No. Does it help if you are one? That's up to you. I'm not an agent. I've taught a lot of agents how to do this, but you don't have to be an agent. Now, lastly, and the last thing here, I know I've covered a ton of stuff as fast as I could here. How do I pay the reps? I pay the reps about 15% of what I'm going to make. And when they stick around, they're solid, they're rock stars, boom, I bump them up to 20%. So they'll get 20% of what I'm making. So if I'm making $10,000 on an assignment fee, which is pretty standard, they'll make $2,000 for taking pictures, showing the house, taking all the calls from the buyers. So I don't think I took a breath here. So let's recap here. I've talked about the market, where we are right now in the market, why this is an incredible time in the market if you know how to position yourself properly. And this is going to be going on for months, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. All I know is I know where to position myself. I know we're about to explode with marketing. This is pulling back? No, I'm about to explode it. We talked about lease options, why I like lease options, and we talked about how to do it virtually and how that looks, doing lease options virtually. So I've covered a ton of stuff. Wow, I think I'm going to need to take a breath here. So there's a lot of stuff there, Melanie. Hopefully that was really helpful.
This has been awesome.
Was that
awesome?
Well, good stuff. I know that was a ton of stuff, wasn't it, Melanie?
It was. So if you were to crack it down, okay, to just so that I can use a sound bite, what is I mean, I know that you talked about the 3 different types, but when somebody brand new, what is a lease option? Let's just, I mean, you're going to summarize the whole last 45 minutes or whatever we've been, like, summarize what is lease options?
Right. Lease options allow you to control a property with no money and no risk and work with pretty houses. I call it the pretty house business.
Awesome.
If you
And
want to work with pretty houses, lease options are how you do it.
if you have people, especially during this area, you still have to find a buyer. Do you think people are still going to be buying?
Yeah. So what happens is, and I don't know what's going to happen with the mortgage industry, the lending industry. What I do know is that hard money lenders, private money lenders on the investment side, they're already pulling back. I've seen a lot of things where lenders are pulling back because they don't know what's going to happen, right? So they got to keep their cash reserves best they can. So they've got to curtail their risk, their exposure. I don't know what's going to happen in the mortgage industry. I'm not on a crystal ball. I could see that changing where the guidelines get a little bit tighter. I don't know.
Right.
But I know this, it has always been pretty darn easy for us to find buyers, because the buyers that we work with are people that, most of them are people that are very close to finance but can't quite qualify for the loan. Or they're self-employed. Now get this one, they're self-employed and don't have 2 years of tax returns. Well, what do you think is going to happen when people are stuck at home working or trying to work for a month, 2 months, and they get laid off or furloughed? It's going to be amazing over the next 6 months, Melanie. You're going to see a spike, such an incredible rise in people that become entrepreneurs, that start working for themselves.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because my husband left his corporate America job a few months ago, and people, when this happened, said, "Is he going to go back?" And I was like, "Heck no! Like, this is the great time to this is actually what a lot of people might be moving to, like you said." Okay, but I want to clarify, just because we will have so many newbies watching this, that when John says a buyer, you can't think a normal buyer that's
Right.
going to have a regular closing. So tell us the difference. What does a lease option buyer look like?
Okay, great question. So when I say buyer, it's really a tenant buyer is the correct term. There's somebody that is coming to you that is very likely has been renting a house, a nice house, for a while. And in my case, maybe paying $1,600, $2,000 a month, whatever. And they're ready to make that transition to own a house, but maybe they've tried to buy, but maybe there was a divorce 3 years ago, and there's still a few things getting taken care of there. So there's something happened in the past, 2, 3, 4 years ago, whatever. Something happened that is still affecting their credit, that needs to be taken care of. Also, the buyers that come to us, and maybe self-employed buyers that haven't been self-employed for 2 years. So they've got money. They're good people. They're very good people. They're great people, but they just are not quite to the position of meeting all the lending guidelines.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about it on the other side. If you're talking about a lease option seller, or are they when you find them, how did you find them? Because did they have a for sale, or did they have a for rent sign out in front?
Okay, good. Both. Both. I mean, either one.
Okay.
So here's the thing, Melanie. So in my 3-day events, in my big boot camps I talk about the levels of desperation.
Okay.
And it starts off, in the levels of desperation go for sell by owner. And then from there, it goes either to MLS or for rent by owner. From for rent by owner, it goes to MLS. From MLS, it goes to for lease. Those are the first 4 levels. From there, it goes to wholesale, sub 2, foreclosure. But the point is, show me a house that's for rent, and you're either looking at an investor or an accidental landlord.
Okay.
So if you see a house that's on the MLS for lease, that is not through a property management, it's just for lease, the odds are incredibly high that homeowner tried to sell it, it didn't sell, and they were like, "Oh crap, we need a plan B."
Yeah. So, but they're okay.
That's a for rent. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But they're okay to just get that, not, so you're looking for sellers that don't need 100% of that. They're not looking to take out equity.
Right. Right. So sellers, the number one plan for sellers is this. Someone comes along and says, wow, $300,000. How about if I pay you 305 just because you're so good looking? Here's all the cash.
Yeah.
Right. That's the magical world. Yeah. Well, when that doesn't happen and it's been on the market for 60 days and they're starting to pack their bags because they're moving.
Yeah.
They're like, oh crap, what do we do? That's where we come in.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that those little beginner pieces that sometimes I think as investors we kind of skip to. But I think that's the magic of this, is especially like when I work with people, using the arbitrage model for Airbnb, I approach landlords, and to be able to say, to put a lease option in place where I'm paying a monthly rent, and then hopefully someday going to be able to take it over completely. Right. Any tips or tricks on, in that model where you're on this end of wanting to do that?
Yeah, so let's talk about where the Airbnb can fit in there and how these can work together. So to Airbnb a property, you have to either own the property or you have to control it. By control, it could be a simple lease. But the point is, there's some control there over that property, right? So how can you control it with a lease option? What does that look like? Well, when you control it with a lease option, it's simply a straight lease option, right? So you've got the house here, and now you're going to control it with a lease option. You're not just going to lease it, you're going to lease it, but you have the option to purchase it, all right? And where that option comes in, you are going to want to try to negotiate, if it makes sense, the monthly payment. You're going to try to negotiate the price, and you're going to try to negotiate the terms of that option. Of how long you have, and you're going to want to put down as little money as possible. Now you've got that lease option in place. Now here's what you're going to do, and not to blow up everybody's mind, but you're going to file what's called a memorandum of option with the county. What that does is it clouds the title.
Nice.
So as you go to Airbnb on the back end, this seller can't sell the house without the title company contacting you, going, hey, Sam, the seller's trying to sell his house here. So you've locked up that house. Yeah. And now you're free to sublet it, to do the Airbnb on the back, right? Yeah. And if in 2 years there's whatever works for you, whatever that term of that option is, you decide, hey, let's go ahead and get finance on this. You can pursue the finance, but in the meantime, you've controlled that property and Airbnb it on the backside.
Awesome. This is such great information. Did I cut you off? Did you have any more slides, or I just kind of wanted to talk because you had so much great stuff coming out?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well,
that's it. We lost. Your picture froze up a little bit. But, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, John. This was great information. John is offering an awesome discount because he loves me so much and because I love him so much. But as the king of lease options, if you use the link in the show notes, it will give you $100 discount, or if you use the coupon code Why Not Me. So if you come to our website or John's website, or use the link in the notes, but make sure to get that $100 off if you'd like to learn more from John and all the awesome things he has to offer. John, any final words of advice before we wrap it up, or a farewell?
I will say this. Get in the chaos. In order to succeed with chaos, you must be creative. Get creative in the chaos and you will succeed.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, and thanks for tuning in. Let us know, or let John know if you have any questions. John, is there any social media that you want people to reach out to you on?
I'm required to stay off social media per my my attorney.
That's probably the best for all friends, family, colleagues involved.
I guarantee you, if you Google my name and Lease Options, you'll find me.
All right. That's what we needed. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care, Melanie.